Hi everyone, and welcome back to another economics video lecture. In today's class we are going to study chapter number 5 of your HSC, the Maharashtra board textbook. I'm sure most of you, in fact all of you, must have purchased this book by now, and if you have not, please do it. Or if you, I'm sure all of you have a PDF copy of it, which is available on the site as well, the Maharashtra board site, so you can download it. Okay, so we are going to start with chapter number 5, which says the forms of market. Okay, chapter number 5 of your HSC textbook, forms of market. Okay, before we start with this entire chapter, it is very essential for us to know the literal meaning of the word market. Now, what is a market? If you ask a lay person who is not an economics expert or who has not studied economics, he or she will be able to tell you something about market. What is a market? He or she will tell you that it is a place, or rather it's an area or a locality where there are buyers and where there are so many shops, and the shops are situated in those areas, and the buyers, we as customers, we go to their shops and we buy certain things and we pay them and we get back. So that's a market according to a layman. But when you come to economics, market is not simply just a place or a locality where there are buyers and sellers, and we, according to our needs, we buy and the sellers sell their goods. No, it is something deeper, it is something complex. It is not just a locality, in fact it is an arrangement. All right, when I say an arrangement, it does not mean just a place or a locality or an area. It is something more. Okay, so when the economist found out what is this something more, they got to know that market, in economics, market is an arrangement where buyers and sellers, the two parties, essentially, it's a must for a market to exist. Two parties are a must. Which are these two parties? The producers or the sellers, and the consumers or the buyers. It is must for them to exist, and exist in such a close contact with each other that buying and selling becomes easy. Okay, this definition to you is given on page number 46, the beginning of the chapter, by Professor Conant. All right, Augustine Conant. He says that it is an arrangement where the buyers and sellers are in close contact with each other. Now, in today's time, what is the meaning of this phrase, close contact with each other? In today's times, all of us are aware of the technology that we have, our mobile phones, all right, or our laptops. Now, through this mobile phones, we can do a lot of online shopping. Too many apps, all of you are aware of it, be it vegetables, be it fruits, be it seafood, all right. And now even we have apps for that, or maybe just food from restaurant, or your clothes, or anything or everything. You have an online app for everything. Okay, so in today's time, this close contact is possible due to a technology. So market is not just a place, it's not just a locality. In fact, it is such an arrangement where buyers and sellers come in close contact. This arrangement could be anything, in form of a technology or in form of you physically going to a market. All right, but due to certain conditions now, the pandemic, of course, we are unable to go to the actual market. So we have a lot of facilities wherein we can sit at home and we can order stuffs for ourselves. So that complex arrangement is also known as market. So for a lay person, it could be a place or a locality, but for someone who knows economics, for him, there must be a close contact between buyers and sellers, and that close contact is possible anyway, through technology, through phones, through laptops, or anything. So that is market. Okay, so I hope you will be able to answer this. It usually comes for definitions. Okay, for 2 marks, or it might come for a short note also for 3 marks. Okay, so you should be able to write it. And the name Augustine Cournot, a very important name in economics, you have to mention his name, that you're quoting his definition of market. All right, so we proceed to the certain requirements in a market. Okay, the first thing that I have already told you, two parties are a must. Okay, when will we say that this particular arrangement is of a market, this is a market structure? When we will say, when there are essentially two parties, one, the buyer and the seller. So the things required, or the features that are required for a market to exist are as follows. The first one, buyers and the sellers. Okay, without the buyers, without the customers, market is incomplete. And without the sellers who are actually there to cater to our demands and needs, without sellers the market is incomplete. So first requirement of a market is the buyers and the sellers. Next one, for the buyers to buy, they should have a certain demand of a certain product or a certain commodity, and those products or those commodities should be available with the seller. So of course, the next one, next important requirement of a market is a product. Okay, it could be anything as per the demand of the buyer, as per the desire, as per the needs, or as per the wants of the buyer. It could be anything: clothes, mobile phones, pencil, pens, anything. It could be XYZ. Okay, next one, this particular product should have a price. Okay, without price, the buyer will not be able to purchase and the seller will not be able to sell. I hope all of you are aware of barter system, right? In 11th standard textbook, in chapter number 2, the money chapter, you had studied something which was known as limitations of barter system. Why barter system came to an end, a very important point. I hope you remember, it used to cause a lot of arguments between the buyers and the sellers. What was barter system? The exchange of goods. All right, so barter system was a very difficult process of buying and selling, and that is why it came to an end and the money evolved. So now here, when we have money with us, we are of course going to decide a price, and then the buying and selling is going to happen. So price is important. The product should have a price. Next one, very important, as I said, there should be a close contact between the parties. The buyers and sellers should be in touch with each other. This could be through the use of technology or me physically going to a market, to the seller's shop. Okay, so the close contact is a must. And finally, both the sellers and the buyers should have the perfect knowledge about market. Okay, perfect knowledge of the market. Now, what is this knowledge of the market? Very simple thing. Knowledge about the market means what all products are available, at what rate they are available, how much is the competition. The seller must be aware that how many different shops are selling the same products at what rate, so he can take some decision to increase his profit. Even the buyers must be aware of different shops that are available, or different apps that are available through which they can shop and they can get maximum satisfaction. By maximum satisfaction, I mean to say at which site, at which shop, or at which app he is going to get maximum discount, for which his utility of that product is going to rise. Now, all of us, if we compare, okay, not branding for any site or anything like that, but just for an example, if we want to purchase something online, okay, what the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to search that particular product on different sites. Okay, for example Amazon, Myntra or Flipkart. Okay, I'm going to shortlist these 3 sites and I'm going to check rates on these 3 sites. Wherever I find it cheaper, I'm going to purchase it from there. Okay, so this because I had the knowledge of different apps available, I could do that. So the buyers must have a proper knowledge of how many sources he can buy that product from. Okay, so that's the point of perfect knowledge. So in order that a market exists, these are the requirements. Okay, I hope you have understood so far. We are on page number 46, right? Next important thing that is given to you in the textbook is classification of market. Market is classified on basis of what? Those points are given in form of a diagram to you. Okay, it's like a flow chart, and which is very important. Okay, you have to mark this as important, and if you learn this entire diagram, you will be able to answer the questions correctly in a systematic form. Okay, so we will start with this diagram now. We'll just erase this part. So markets are classified on certain bases, on certain grounds. These grounds we are going to study in this particular table. Okay, classification of market. Classification. Okay, now classification are done on 3 grounds. Okay, you have the textbook right in front of you. The 3 grounds are place, time, and competition. Okay, the markets are classified on the basis of place, on the basis of time, and on the basis of competition. Okay, place, time, and competition. Out of these 3, the entire chapter is based upon competition. Okay, these 2 are just for the knowledge sake. The entire chapter is based upon this competition. Okay, what type of a market is perfect competition? What type of a market is monopoly? What type of a market is monopolistic competition? What type of a market is oligopoly? So based on competition, you have certain types which you are going to study in this entire chapter. Their features, their definitions, and who brought those terms, all that you are going to study. Now let us, for example, take the first 2. Okay, this is a very complex thing, and on this particular part the entire chapter is based, so we will keep this for the next video lecture. We will complete these 2 in this class. Alright, the first thing, on the ground of on the basis of place, a market could be local. Alright, or a market could be national, or a market could be international. Okay, local, national, international. On the ground, on the basis of place, these 3 are the types of market. Okay, it is classified into local, very simple, a place, a locality where a certain product is produced and it is sold there itself. That is known as local market. Okay, a very basic example that I can give you is all of us have been to Lonavala, right? It is a very common place where all of us go for recreation. Okay, for 1 day, 2 days. That particular area is very famous. Lonavala is very famous for the fudges, okay, the fudge and the chickies, or for example certain candies like Mapro and Malas. All those things are produced there. They have factories over there, they are produced there and they are sold there. So that type of a market, and a very important thing which we purchase, important thing which is very famous in that particular area, in the Lonavala area, is the ceramic mugs and ceramic ware, okay, all the pots and stuffs like that. So it is produced in that particular area and it is sold in that particular area, and that is why it's local, a local market. But sometimes it so happens that those local products become so famous, they become so popular, and they are supplied to the other regions, to the other states as well. So that becomes national, a national market. A best example I can give you is tea from Assam. Alright, the tea that is produced and harvested in the state of Assam is supplied and sold all over the nation, all over India. So that particular market becomes a national market. Coming to the last one, international. Certain products are very popular, all right, in terms of availability they are ample, in terms of quality they are the best, and that is why they are exported to foreign countries, out of the national borders. That particular type of market is the international market. Best example I can give you is apples from Kashmir, okay, a very nice breed, a very rich breed type of apple. Huge red ones are found and are grown especially in Kashmir, so they are exported out of India to the foreign countries. That particular type of a market is the international market, where the product is going outside the national boundaries, okay. So these three are classified on the basis of place. We move on to the next one, time. There are 4 classifications and these are very simple, okay. Okay, the first one is very short period, okay, very short period of time. There are certain markets which are evolving for a very short period of time, and that is why it's a market for, say, just a few days or a few weeks, okay. The best example that I can give you is during the lockdown, the initial days of the pandemic, the end of March, the April month, okay. During these days, many local many societies, they came up with an idea that why each society member has to go out to the superstore or to the market to buy certain things. It will be better that one person goes, gets an ample, fills a car and gets an ample of product and sells in his or her own society. And this particular type of market existed for a very few weeks, as the lockdown was released, as the city was unlocked, the lockdown was called off. The market, that particular structure of market was dissolved. It was not seen after that. So this particular market was created or was formed for a very little period of time, say 1 month at the most, okay. So that type of a market is for a very short period of time, okay. Next one is short period, okay. This could be a market which is existing for less than a year, okay. 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, as per the demand of a particular commodity, this market will be available. After that, this type of a market is going to dissolve, okay. Many times a few weeks before Diwali, okay, not few weeks, yeah, for few months before Diwali, 2 months, 3 months, there are certain shops which sell fireworks, okay, the crackers. They come into existence. These shops come into existence, and after 3-4 months, once Diwali is over, after a few days of Diwali, these shops are closed down. They pack their bags and go away. So this type of a market, which is running for 3 to 4 months, that is known as a market which is existing for short period. Okay, next one. This could be less than a year. Okay, it could be less than a year. Okay, it's less than a year. Next one, long period. Long period is that particular type of a market which is going to exist from 1 year, between 1 year to 5 years. Okay, now in this particular type of a market, all the factors of production are available at least for 5 years, and that is why the production process continues for 5 years and the market is existing. And last comes very long period. Very long period. This type of a market is existing for more than 5 years. Okay, once the benchmark of 5 years, the limit of 5 years is done, and still they have a lot of resources, and still they have their factors of production in hand with them, they are going to continue the production for a longer period of time. So that type of a market comes under the market which are running for a very long period of time, more than 5 years. Okay, so this was the classification on the basis of time. Finally, we move on to the classification under competition. The first one is perfect competition. Second one is imperfect competition. Okay, perfect competition is a theoretical concept. To be more precise, to be more clear, to be more honest, this type of a market does not exist in real economies. Okay, next, imperfect market is further divided into 3 types. The first one is monopoly. The second one is oligopoly, and the third one is monopolistic competition. Okay, monopolistic competition. Many a times students I've been correcting board papers, and I realized that many a times students get confused between monopoly and monopolistic competition. Mind you, these two terms are different from each other. They are not the same. Monopoly is different and monopolistic competition is different. So if you get confused, you might answer wrongly. Okay, if you are asked about monopoly, you might end up writing monopolistic, or if you are asked monopolistic, you might end up writing monopoly. So please keep in mind that these two are different. This is the classification of market on basis of competition. So this particular section we are going to carry forward, continue in our next video lecture. I hope you have understood so far what is a market and how it is classified. Okay, if you have really understood, and if you want this channel to grow, please subscribe to the channel and like it and share it with your friends. Thank you so much. Stay in touch.